Today we'll be discussing on the fusion of art and AI, navigating the impact of AI in the creative industry. So, in this evolving landscape, the fusion of art and AI represents a transformative blend of AI and technology. In this evolving landscape, AI tools are assisting artists, offering new mediums of artistic and creative expression, and even creating their own artwork. Today, we will delve into the impact of AI in the creative industry to understand what is its potential to revolutionize this industry. We'll also discuss around the challenges that AI poses to this industry. So beginning with the first and very pertinent question to all of you here, I assure you this is going to be a very informal discussion, and I'm sure all of you have questions at the end of this discussion. So the first question is, how is AI reshaping the art world? And I mean, please go ahead.
I think if I have to say about AI and art reshaping the world, is how traditionally people were creating art, and they are still. Am I audible? Yeah, that traditionally when people create art, they have to go through a process of this internal journey where they are finding themselves, where they are trying to express something, and then they arrive at a conclusion and they finally think that, okay, now I really want to express this, and then they pick a medium to express. I think with AI, what is happening is this entire process is becoming much more faster. Even though the essence of finding yourself is still there with a few artists, I've noticed, the process have become faster. The tool have become much more sharper and much more refined. So even someone who doesn't have a skill to pen it out or write it or draw it, they can still express. So the process of internal journey is still there, just the medium of expression has changed, the tool has changed. So it is becoming more democratized is what I am observing.
I think for me, am I audible? I don't feel like I'm audible. Okay, all right. So I am a traditional artist. I paint on canvas. I am a muralist. I paint on walls. For me to delve into AI and utilize that as a tool was very, very interesting. So what it does is, I actually love the dance of prompts. As an artist, it was never important for me to have that essence of vocabulary. But now, for some reason, I have more vocabulary because of the prompts. I have to have precise words in order to have the right kind of prompts for what I want through AI, through Midjourney, through DALI. So that is one thing that I really find very interesting. And being a traditional artist, for me to have variations, what if I want to make the hair longer? I have to sketch the entire thing, which will take me hours. Because of AI, it's a matter of minutes. And it's a tremendous change, in what I want to do and how I'm going with it. So I think that is something that is becoming very powerful day by day as a tool for a traditional artist.
Hi. So I think I started painting as a painting on paper in the early in the 90s, and in 2010 I moved into digital. I started experimenting with digital painting, and in 2020 when AI-powered tool comes, what I basically trying to look this particular tool as a creative collaborator, because the technology keep on changing over over 10 years. There will be a constant change, but the stories that we used to tell, or the idea that we try to depict, which remain constant throughout. So for me, when I look at AI, it's more like a creative collaborator for me. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add on to what the other speakers have said. So even I started as a traditional photographer. So when AI first came into picture, for me it was just for the fun of it. So when I was initially using AI, so I was thinking about it in a way that, how I can use it in my own workflow, which is completely traditional, as in I used to take pictures, right? So how I can use those pictures as an input and work with AI as a collaborator to see how the pictures which I have already taken can be used as a prompt, as an image prompt in AI, and to see what the AI comes up with, right? So I start with a story in my mind, but what the AI comes up with might be entirely different when compared to what I had initially in my mind. So for me personally, it is a tool that is helping me. Like, suppose I am visiting a new place, I do research on that place, and I plan the kind of shots I want to take at that particular place. So initially, it was all using, searching on Google or searching on Instagram or everywhere, to look at pictures that were already taken at those places, and the kind of compositions photographers have used before. So for me, using AI, it's so much easier. Now I just have to write a prompt that explains to the program, what I want to see in those places. And it will give me an idea, a kind of a mood board, if you will. So in that way, it has reduced the amount of time I spend on research when I'm planning a photo shoot. So that's the major case with me, how I use AI. And I think people are using AI image generation in various ways. So I guess we can all learn together and use it in ways which will work the best for us.
Adding on to you, the beauty of this panel, right, is all these artists are basically traditional artists who picked up AI skills and now are AI artists. So I don't think that's the right term, like we discussed, right, in our initial conversation, to be used as an AI artist, because AI skills are being used to enhance your creativity as an artist, and it's not making you an AI artist per se. So, highlighting the point which Vimal pointed out about AI being used as a creative collaborator. So my next question is again very pertinent, like how can AI really help enhance the skill set of an artist as a collaborator, and what are their limitations?
I think limitations I've yet to gauge out. Uh, I've only seen possibilities, and I've only seen AI enhancing my thoughts and a lot of other artists' work thoughts. Uh, I think I'm again going to answer on a very similar note that I answered for the first question, that before AI, whenever you were thinking of a visual, the journey from thought to final production was longer, and also you didn't have a helping hand, if I have to use that term, or you didn't have a collaborator who would give you different styles and different routes in few seconds, and then you can quickly come to conclusion that this is the way I want to pick. Even I mean, either it's for a hobby or I'm working on a commercial project. So the enhancement I have seen from platforms like Midjourney or DALI or Stable Diffusion is, if you leave a window open for creativity and if you leave the window open for AI, the AI will surprise you in more ways than you can surprise yourself. Uh, Even though there are a lot of controversies around this platform, if you use it in a right direction, it's a boon for designers and artists in thinking something which you always wanted to express, but you didn't know what elements should be there in the composition or what kind of color palette I should pick. You just need an initial icebreaker when you're working. You just need something that can remove your block, like how you have writer's block. There's artist block, designer's block. So it's a great ideation tool which will remove that earlier uh, barrier and will fast track the entire process to come to the conclusion that this is the direction I want to pick. So that is something I'm looking at as a big enhancement.
Right, I'll very much agree with you here. But I'll talk about the enhancement as well as the limitation. I mean, AI, especially Midjourney and DALI, what I use mostly is, at the moment, it has just started crawling. It's a baby which doesn't even know how to walk at the moment. So we are sort of putting a lot of high expectation on someone on a software which doesn't even know how to walk. So at this moment, where it's just a baby, it is doing a lot. Yes, it doesn't give you 5 fingers, it gives you 7 instead of 5. That is there. The eyes are a little bit here and there. At times when I expect the contrast and the highlight to be just the way I want, it doesn't give you that. It has a very typical way of showing the images where I can just see and I will know that it's by Midjourney. But will it be the same in coming 5 years? Absolutely not. Because if just in 2 years, if it is here, imagine, I mean, we can't even imagine where it's going to be. Now, this is the limitation. The enhancement here is, you know, before AI came in my life personally, I have never even imagined that I will collaborate with so many different artists from so many different continents, all the 7 continents, and be able to work with them in such a harmonious way. So that is the power that is happening because of technology. And I love that because so far it's just Sneha's brain who was thinking. Now it is Midjourney's brain, which is a collaborative brain of all of us, at the same time of all the artists that, you know, I just got to know about. So it's just absolutely wonderful. And to, you know, something that very rightly you said, I want to point out, I have a little brother. He's highly creative, but doesn't have the skill to paint, to even draw a straight line. He just cannot. But he's so creative. He'll talk about all these things that he has in his head. Because of this software, all of a sudden, he's using prompts and he's getting what he wants, and something that I could not imagine because I can't get inside his head, but thankfully the software did. So yeah, there's so many pros, and a little bit of cons here and there, which I think will eventually just, you know, be faded.
Yeah, when I look at AI, I'm just first trying to understand how the creativity works. If you want to create something new, I mean new in the sense like, it's basically like you already have an input in your brain somewhere, some experience or something that you have experienced before, and when you're trying to figure out or trying to experience another thing, you try to create a pattern out of it, right? So this pattern creation stimulates a new thought, and we create something new out of it. So for this process, this works well, and if there are many people involved in the process, you know. So AI is something with a large data set. It's a trained model with a large data set. It's more like a collective consciousness, I say. So in that sense, for creativity, it really helps us to improve our thought process in the initial stages. On top of that, it's like in the initial stages for a real-time experience, something like if you are starting to create a movie, in the initial stages, it takes a long time for us to make a mood board or what we call a initial sketches for all the frames. And now when the AI came, that part, which is a you know, long, boring part of the movie making process, I think that part can be easily outsourced to AI, you know, and which increase the productivity in a sense like that help creators to more concentrate on the main aspect of movie production.
I'll first speak about the limitations and, you know, shortcomings of the current AI model. So as Sneha was saying, initially when we create pictures using Midjourney, there were like, 7 fingers and, one eyes will be pointing, like both the eyes will be pointing in different directions. And I was still posting those pictures online and people used to tell, okay, like this doesn't look like a human being. This, like we don't have 7 fingers or 8 fingers or whatever those shortcomings were. But to be honest, even during those times, I never looked at it as a real shortcoming, because for me, using AI as a tool was not to replicate something that I could easily do with a camera, right? So I always wanted both of them to be separated. I wanted people to know that they were AI generated, and when I am presenting something to a wider audience, I always make sure that it is, tagged as an AI-generated picture. So for me, it doesn't matter if the person has 7 fingers or 8 fingers, because I'm not trying to really create a replica of a human being. So through the pictures I create using AI, I basically am trying to create a story. I'm trying to tell a story through 5 to 6 connected images, and it doesn't really matter if a person has 7 fingers, because it doesn't affect the story as much as like people think they do. But people were very concerned about the fact that it's not perfect. But we are not looking for perfection. When you want to tell a story, it's not about the perfection, right? And again, I wanted both the things to be separate. If it is AI, it should look like AI. But again, this was like 7, 8 months back, and now if you create an image on Midjourney, it really has 5 fingers, and you hardly see an imperfection, and we have reached a point where you can't really distinguish between what is real and AI. So I would not really call it a shortcoming, and like we should embrace it as a thing that it does, and we should appreciate it. Yes.
I really like the optimistic view here, really, especially when there's like a raging debate on, AI taking away jobs of designers and artists, especially in the, wake of emerging AI image generators like DALI and, Midjourney, etc. So a little bit about your thoughts, though we have like an optimistic view, do you see it as a threat of, designers and artists maybe losing jobs, or they'll have to upskill themselves to really stay relevant?
Like when it comes to jobs, like we were discussing before the panel discussion, as Vimal was saying, it's not like, we will lose jobs, but some might lose job, but new job opportunities are being created as well. So there are a lot of people who are working on traditional medium, switching slowly to the AI generated model and using it as a helping tool, or integrating AI tools to their traditional workflow. So we might find some cases where for marriages you have these save the date cards, or like all these poster designs, those kind of work that were being done by traditional artists. So those things can be easily done using softwares now. You just need to write a prompt and you have a save the date card. You just need to change the names or whatever dates are there. So I don't think people will lose job, but it's up to us to understand the changing scenario with respect to art and upgrade ourselves. As long as we keep ourselves up to date, I don't think no one is going to lose any job as such.
I think, I don't know how many people here actually feel that AI is going to take away jobs, because are we still traveling on horse cart? We are not, right? But it has been shifted to cars, and machine took the horse's job, but there still are jobs of different kinds of sector for different people, right? So I don't know if how many people are actually thinking that AI will take away job, because we have so many examples in the past that change is the only constant, and technology will eventually keep moving, keep shifting. So yeah, that is one thing that I really question, and I'm also very interested to see the future, how it is going to be. Having said that, initially there'll be a little bit of problem. All the artists who are into digital art right now, they are into developing their skill. Everyone is running after learning more about AI, learning more about technology. They are not stagnant. So that is also actually a very good part, that we are in the position of learning to enhance our knowledge, because a new technology has come into the space. So, it's eventually going to push everyone to find a different kind of job, where they are going to prompt the technology and ask them to do all the manual work, which was being done for so many days and so many hours. But there's a different kind of creativity that's going to happen.
Can I add to that point? That's very true about, there's so many roles being created just with AI coming in, right? Which we could never imagine before.
Exactly.
Right? Yes, go ahead.
So when the people are a bit worried, because when Neha's example, like when cart moved into car, there is a
Cars.
driver, there is a driver. Then when you go to the self-driving car, there is no driver, So, okay, so one job has gone. People are thinking in that direction. So if there is a technology upgrade happens at one direction, what will usually happen is that the total number of jobs will remain almost same. When you think rationally, when you look at the total number of jobs around the world, it remained the same. It created new type of jobs. It made some of the old job obsolete, something like that. For example, it's same with the hand-painted hoardings. When the Adobe Photoshop came, they all replaced by the hoardings, right? So those kind of things will happen. My worry or what I think is like of introduction of a new technology, what will usually happen is like it will fall into only to the one of the biggest tech companies or most uncreative people, and they're trying to get maximum profit out of it. That's not the issue with the art, or that's not the issue with the technology. That's totally an issue with capitalism, how it works. So that is my only worry about introduction of a new technology.
Am I audible now? So this brings me to my next question, which is slightly controversial. This is about, does AI art stereotype, right? Because we've seen so many examples where, recently even BuzzFeed, just to give you an example, when the movie Barbie came out, right? It came out with these images of Barbie from different countries. And it represented Barbie with guns for certain war-stricken countries, right? So as to, basically being slightly, judging people based on ethnicity, race, religion, even artists in India, bringing out with images of men and women from different states, again, AI-generated images based on complexion and all of that. So what are your thoughts on, AI art being biased? I agree it's the data set, but I'd like to hear your thoughts.
I mean, nobody can deny that data set is not biased. It is definitely a biased data set. Not because of the people who developed the machine, but because of the data set available on the internet and globally in general. It is a biased data set. A lot of time, whatever you create, it involves certain keywords. So when we talk about an image of Barbie holding a machine gun, the artist would have definitely mentioned machine gun or weapon or gun or some sort of words related to violence. The artist could have chose not to use those words and just could have gone with Syria. I understand if you mention Syria, AI would not have created the most beautiful looking or the clean looking Barbie image. I can agree on that. But having certain weapon in the image is always a choice of an artist. You cannot always blame, what we were discussing the other day, that you cannot always blame an artist or the developers. The blame goes to the data set that is available. I think developers are constantly trying to make it unbiased. And it's also users' responsibility to keep creating stuff that makes sense, that is beautiful and unbiased, because whatever you are creating is going back into machine learning data set. And machine is learning from what you are also creating. So it's artists' responsibility to create useful and a set of artwork that makes sense.
And just to add to what Tapan just said, I'm not completely sure if we can call AI as a biased model completely, because the thing is that the people who are using these AI tools, they are the one who are biased, right? Like if I think about Syria and I want to create a picture of Barbie in Syria, I think that the Barbie will have a gun in her hand. So it is me who is telling the AI model to make a picture of a Barbie in Syria holding a gun. So we cannot completely call the AI model as biased, and it's more like what perception we have of that event, in our mind. The person who is using the AI model, like he is actually making the the program to be biased in a certain way. So for example, you will see a lot of images, within India as well, like if you want to create people from a certain part of India, say South India or North India, so we think they look in a certain way. So we are telling the AI model, to make these images in this certain way. So if you, like there are cases where the model itself is biased. Like if you just type in a South Indian man, it will create a certain, picture for you. But even that is trained because the model is working that way because we have been using that model in that particular way for far too long, and the model has learned that, okay, if this guy is typing a South Indian guy, it should look like this. So I think it is us, the people who have trained the AI model to work that certain way. So it's both of us who are biased in this case, I think.
So basically, AI is a reflection of us humans. So before pointing out at AI, we should probably look at ourselves and say that, yes, we are biased. Let's start from changing our mindset. Eventually, AI will follow us.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, bringing to the next question again, which is really, really right on top of the art community, which is, what are the legal considerations, ethical considerations rather, copyright issues when AI comes into the picture? This literally that whole challenge of, who owns the art, and with companies picking up art without giving the legal ownership rights and all, which we were just discussing. If you could just, share your thoughts again on that.
During all my commercial work with all the organizations, or if I'm working with an individual, they always ask that whatever you are generating is copyright protected. Do we even have the position to copyright the AI generated artwork? Have you gone through the copyright process? And if you get it copyrighted, who will own it? That multiple questions have been asked, and I'm also so I'm consulting an IP attorney in my city as a copyright lawyer who's been working with me for almost a year now. It is definitely possible to copyright your AI generated artworks in India. There are certain countries who have clearly said that it's not possible. But in India, it's still in a very gray zone. It's ambiguous. You can take leverage of the gray zone if you wish, or if you want to play safe, you cannot. Uh, in, if I were to answer the ethical part of it, I always practice not to mention any living artist's name in my prompt. That's an ethical practice I have followed ever since I started making commercial work. If someone comes and say that create something like Pascal Campion. Now Pascal Campion is an amazing American artist. Now Pascal is alive. He's making you know. If I use his name and I replicate his style using Mid-Journey or any platform, then it's a threat to his livelihood. I would not do that. But if someone says that, can you create something like Raja Ravi Verma, just for an example, I would think for a second. I'm not saying I would do it, but I would at least think about it, because I'm not directly affecting someone's livelihood. But whenever there's a threat to a living being, I would not do that. That's a ethical and moral practice I've always followed, and I would always, promote such practice to everyone who's going to venture into AI as a commercial practice.
Yeah, the problem with the data set has to be addressed. That's what I think. Because initially when the model was trained, they took data from the open internet. I mean, a lot of artists pointed out that issue because they find their signature in the Mid-Journey, pictures and stuff like that. Those parts should have been, accounted initially itself, because usually, basically, you are trying to train your model using someone else's artwork, and your obviously profit is not shared to those artists. So that part should have been sorted out initially.
Yeah. So, from what I understand, the initial data set that was created had around 5.8 billion pictures. So it is not just the pictures of an artist that is being taken. So any picture you guys, like even you, me, everyone who have uploaded any picture on the internet is part of that 5.8 billion picture data set, right? So it was a data scraping at such a large level that, literally every picture on the internet has been used to train these models. So so these art community, what they are asking for is a compensation on the work, on their work, which is being used without their will. But it's a very complex topic to address because it is not just their work that is being stolen. It's literally every picture on the internet that is being used to train these models. So when it comes to compensating an artist, like even I can go and tell them that, my picture is being used to train your model and I also need a compensation. So in a way, to be very frank, I don't think that issue is ever going to be addressed. Even there are lawsuits still going on in the US specifically fighting this particular issue, and it has not reached a conclusion as of now. So obviously, there are a lot of stolen works, but I don't think that at this point it can be addressed because the models are already trained, and all these apps and websites that are producing these AI images are using these trained models. So even if you want to, once you train a model, it will never forget that thing, right? So it is going to be there forever. But in future, maybe we can bring in some regulations on, what work can be used to train these data sets, and it should be maybe even made public that, that data set should be regulated in a way. So, like, people should be compensated for what they are, Yeah.
So before we, go ahead with questions from the audience, I think my next question is a mix of two questions about how has the general and the art community really accepted AI into the community. I know this is going to stir a debate. And the next question is, what does the future look like? Like your hopes or your thoughts on that?
Well, okay, so talking about art community here, again, coming from a very traditional artist background where we are constantly talking about canvas and all the previous artists, the most amazing artists are our examples that we are supposed to follow. I have these two sectors in my vicinity. The ones who are anti-AI completely, they will put their profile picture, that black profile, I'm sure you all have seen that black profile picture where
Say
there's
no
this
to AI.
no AI.
Say no to AI, yeah.
Say no to AI. And then there are artists like me, who are also traditional artists. I still paint on wall and canvases, but I've realized that eventually you have to become friends with something like this. You cannot always, this is going to happen because this is the future. You can't be in stagnancy because that kills you, right? Technology is going to be a tool which is going to help you to create something which is only in your head, and probably you don't have the skill, but you have a lot of creativity in your head. So use this as your friend and not make it your enemy. So I have these two sectors, and they're constantly debating. So this debate is going to go on for a while, till the time we actually understand where is it going to go, but we can only hope for the best. Yeah.
But I think that line is blurring a bit these days because I started using Instagram in 2014. So all these years I have been posting pictures which I took with a camera, right? So I have been posting AI pictures only for a year now. So when I initially started posting these pictures, I used to get DMs from my friends and who are photographers saying that, our community should not be, supporting these kind of AI work, and it will be better if you also do not post such pictures. So the thing was that I was never a professional photographer in the sense that I never used to make any money out of photography, and it was something I used to do for fun. So when I started using AI, that was also part of the fun thing which I used to do, and I never monetized anything using these AI images. So for me, it was a new technology, and I wanted to experiment with that, and I did not really bother what other photographers were thinking about that, problem. So a lot of them stopped speaking to me even during those days. I'm talking about 2022 December, Jan, during those days. So the thing is that now I see these same people posting AI pictures. Like 1 year down the line, even they are posting pictures created using AI. And even Adobe Photoshop, they have integrated AI into their platform. So Adobe for photographers is like the thing, right? So everybody uses it. So Adobe is also supporting AI. So it's becoming more and more available for people, and even these traditional photographers are understanding the fact that, it is going to stay, right? So how much ever you fight, it is going to stay. So I see a change in perception with regard to traditional artists as well, who are completely against AI, has started using AI in their workflow, because they also understand it's going to stay, and it's helping them as well in their work, right? So there was a lot of hatred in the beginning, but I think slowly it's getting better.
Yeah,
I just, yeah, go ahead.
in 2021, the people had issue that artists were embracing NFTs, right? I mean, NFT is bad for environment, that kind of things. And after 1 year, it became a mainstream and it became normalized. And it same happened with the AI art also last year. So when you look at the big art institutions like Sotheby's or Christie's, they all did auctions in 2018 and 2019. And yesterday, MoMA, Museum of Modern Art, they acquired the first AI-generated tokenized work from Rafiq Anadol to their permanent collection. So I think future is going to be more and more digital. Whether you like it or not, it's going to be like that. Yeah.
And
I
also,
wanted to add the same point, by the way, exactly what you said. So yeah, galleries eventually are accepting, because they are seeing that, this is the future and you have to accept it, or you have to move away from that, right? So if you want to stay in the game, just play the game.
Yeah, so thank you for that really, really insightful discussion. And I think the key takeaways which I can think of from this discussion is obviously treat AI as your friend, and it's really not taking away jobs. And you really have to stay relevant by, treat it as a facilitator than as something that's, hampering this thing.